narrative review when we go on.
Can everyone hear me? No?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, great.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Actually, we were trying to put, because we have only one presenter here today. Is Dr. Sharaf Sheik-Ali. So I think so he's at the back somewhere. Sharaf?
Yeah, yes, I'm here. Hi.
Can you come on the stage, please? Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So I want to see if unfortunately, we cannot play the video because it has been designed to play in a loop. So if every person comes and joins the room, automatically it replays, and that was what was happening earlier. And some people, they said there is an echo. Actually, it's a continuous loop. So we cannot run the videos as they are. But what I have here is, these are your 4 slides.
Yeah.
And this is actually your original presentation. These are the 20 slides you had. So not sure which ones do you want to go for?
Yes, we can go for the main slides in that case.
Sorry, for?
We can go for the main slides with the grey background.
Gray background, so these ones.
Yes.
Can you see the presentation tool on the bottom right?
Yes.
Screen? So
right.
it has the arrows like normal presentation, so you can move left and right to the next slide. So can you try to move to the next slide?
So the
like PowerPoint should be there. Yeah. Move to the next slide.
So it's saying it's restricted to a certain user. I'm not sure I've accessed it.
See.
That's okay. if you
Try now.
control the screen, I can speak.
Can you try it now?
No, it's saying I don't have permission to access the web panel.
Okay. Well, I could be able to do it if you want to.
Yes, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Let me know which slide do you want, and I'm gonna be here and silent.
Sure. So we'll start now. So good.
Okay.
Yeah. So
session, everyone. I would like to present Dr. Sharaf Sheik-Ali from the University of Oxford, and for his presentation on next generation virtual and augmented reality in surgical education. Since we have only one presenter at this moment, I think so it would, and in case you haven't seen the original video of Dr. Sharaf, we agreed to, if he would like to go back on his main presentation, it's only 20 slides, and then we can have the Q&A session at the end. Is everyone okay with that?
That'll be great, yeah.
okay, so that sounds great. So
Stage all yours.
thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. So my name's Dr. Ali. I'm one of the surgical doctors based in the UK. I'd like to present a study looking at next generation virtual and augmented reality in surgical. This is all part of a paper that was published in the Surgical Technology International Paper. A bit of background. Both VR and AR have been used in surgery for quite some time. However, it's only been quite recently, in the last few years, improvements in reality technology that's being incorporated more readily into surgical training. This is particularly with the case of phase 2 products, where smartphones, in example, smartphone components are being used in reality. Slide. So, as you're all, I'm sure you're all aware, becoming a surgeon requires quite a bit of training. Requires manual dexterity. A lot of this we gain from clinical exposure in the operative theatre by ongoing practice. However, using virtual reality to speed up this process, very beneficial, improving surgical. Yeah, so what this study was, this was a narrative literature review. It looked at two main databases, both PubMed and the Web of Science, to look at ongoing studies that found 11 studies, 7 of which were randomized control trials, cohort studies. Dominantly used both medical and dental students, so surgical residents. Comparative trials were looking at using virtual reality technology versus traditional. There was an analysis at the end of the study how beneficial virtual reality was in improving their surgical aptitude. Right. Yeah. So if we carry on, so I can go to the next slide a bit further on. Yeah, so this slide is just summarizing the difference between phase 1 and phase 2 virtual reality products. So phase 1 products, these are kind of the oldest set of products, require external computing power sources, which limited their use in, whereas the phase 2 products are often mobile products, and they're able to incorporate higher speed technology more readily. And that could simply be using a smartphone, for example, which designs a virtual operative experience, training students, but also type uses headsets. So it's with this advent of phase 2, virtual reality is more and more go to the next slide, please, Marcus. Yeah, so this is just a brief summary of how we got to the studies, looking at database searches, mainly PubMed, grey literature. Next slide, narrow it down to a total of 11 studies. Carry on to the next. So this is a summary of the various studies that were used. So that most of them are actually randomized control trials for medical students and residents. And the main kind of outcomes were self-assessment scores of how confident the after forming a first paper. It was a report mono study. And see that after training, most students control group via traditional methods. See that these are statistically significant values of less than. You also see simulator groups who all regain greater confidence time in performing the procedures. Carry on to the next slide. So I'll just carry on as we catch up slides. Remainder of the studies, surgeons who again all report increased performance with carry on to the next few. Going on through the slides, please. So the main thing is what we can see is that overall, and just the next slide, please. Skills developed by yeah, sorry, there's a lot of slides. And so the four main things they talk about is improved ability to multitask, time, which is quite important. So if you ask form a procedure, they find that after being taught with virtual reality, so not just the time of performing the procedure, but also the accuracy. again is you also see that field surgeons' hand-eye coordination, speed of how they gather these skills increased. So all of these studies kind of really talk about how please, the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is just a summary of the various technologies, various studies. So they vary from virtual reality, laparoscopic skills simulators. So often in surgery, particularly these keyhole, being able to practice or being in the operating theatre using VR. It means as soon as that surgical resident goes to theatre, dexterity will be improved, likely to result. Carry on to the next slide, please. So what we can see is that all of these studies show a positive association between mainly speed, multitask, that's really kind of the key. Carry on to the next. Yeah, and so this is just a summary of the 11 studies that we've used. Carry on to a discussion, please. So what's now happening is that market over 6,000 million. There are quite a few large companies who are investing heavily using virtual reality in health. Microsoft is an example. Microsoft launched something called a lens. This poses 3D CT scanners onto a patient's limb during surgery. Groundbreaking. This means that as a surgeon is operating in theatre, they're able to see a live view of those CT scanners. Greater what's to come. A lot of demands for VR in healthcare. Again, as this stuff, there definitely is a positive association. Improving surgical. What's to come. Slide, please. A lot of demands for. Again, this is just a summary of kind of some of the main companies in my. Again, various technologies that they're involved in surgical. Microsoft, Google are producing our phones. This is quite important because that readily applied to a healthcare. So these are kind of the main things. So this study essentially looks at virtual reality in and the main things is virtual reality can be used in addition to traditional surgery. It's not here to replace surgical training. live and in theatre. Society, there in addition, you need kind of further studies because the out there is quite limited. So the study has some limitations. The main thing is that a lot of these studies, although they are randomized controlled trials, the sample size, the numbers of medical students, anywhere between 40 to 50 or so. So a relatively small sample size follow-up means that in order to confirm these findings, we one of the main limitations to this review is that there isn't at the moment any cost-benefit analysis applying virtual to surgical. And so if we want to roll out virtual reality, we need to know that will be more beneficial the outcomes of patients and the outcomes of surgery in the long run. In summary, essentially what this study shows is there is a reality. There is a need for more research. Main so that's yeah. So that's essentially the main. So yeah. So I don't know if everyone can hear me.
Go to Q&As.
Yeah. So that's the kind of the main presentation. So thank you for listening. I don't know if anybody's got any questions about this study.
One who would like to ask
Yeah, so thank you for listening, everybody.
we have from Joshua.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Right. So firstly, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. It's nice to see that there's that sort of initiative going on where you are. I'm a medical student, not a doctor, but halfway through in my third year. And I also work on VR apps, so I work on them in Unity 3D with Blender, like making 3D models, that sort of thing. So that's sort of my part-time job. I just wanted to ask, you had a slide where you showed us a table with study types, participants, and conclusions. There was a study by Larson, I think that was the name, where you had like a simulator-based group. One of them had a greater median total score on the rating scale. Could you please provide the link to that? Because I think that would be very helpful.
Yes, of course, yes. So this is the Larhan's style paper.
Yeah.
Surgical skills, yeah. I should have it on the references page. I'll give that to you in a minute now.
Right. Thank you so much. Again, this was a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot.
No, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And I'm glad to see that the student you're getting involved as well in this. That should be the last paper that's in the link in the public. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you have any contact details? Maybe a LinkedIn I could connect with you on.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So we'll.
So they do exist on the avatars. Or you can email me, Joshua.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
And or if you can go on the chat, you can select on the go to. You can find all the participants on the top right, on the top left, and you can find Dr. Sheik-Ali and start the chat directly with him, and he can pass you his LinkedIn details or email if you want to.
Yeah, I sent you an invitation.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions for any of the participants? Before I want to ask one too as well.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
No one else? So I would like to ask one to, I can see that you used 11 surgical studies, okay? And they're coming from different concepts. Why my avatar is doing creepy? Okay, and they're coming from different concepts. I saw that quite many, they are from laparoscopic versions with different devices. But there are quite some a bit more independent. Like, for example, if you have for eye surgery or anything, it was only one, I think, shown.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe part of the study could be top up a bit more, either targeting specific categories and be more, generally more targeting an area in order to prove more the concept? Because, you know, with all the VR technologies, interactivities, maybe the overall testing you want to perform for accuracy, okay,
yeah,
and the perception of people learning through using virtual simulations, use, for example, with all the different toolkits targeting a specific category of surgery, because then you know that it can work for this and then it can be applied for others, maybe? I don't know, do you looking forward to do something like that?
absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much for the question, Marcus. So definitely. So I think this particular study was more of a general scope of, is there room for virtual reality in surgical training in general? So you're absolutely right. There's quite a wide variability in terms of the methodology of these studies. Some of them are looking at laparoscopic skills, and others are looking at other different aspects of surgery. I think you're absolutely right. There's definitely scope for comparing like for like, comparing just laparoscopic surgery, or comparing just ophthalmic surgery procedures as well. I think the only difficulty is often gaining ethical approval in the UK. So I think with ethical approval, certain operations get the various NHS trusts on board.
True.
That's the.
I know it is a difficult situation for getting access, but saying that in the end, you want to provide research that demonstrates methodologies that currently use, like a survey, let's say. So always we link quite many on a specific topic in order to be able to test the actual performance of it.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely a scope for further research, and we hope to be involved in further papers testing like for like, being, particular control groups, using particular operations, for example.
Joshua, raising your hand.
Right. Yeah. So when you talked about the application of surgical VR apps in actual training, just wanted to add that so we made a few here at my university, but one problem we faced was that you can't really replicate everything because we're not using haptic devices. We're just relying on the fact that they can learn protocol by going through the steps, but you don't really feel anything. As in, let's say you're teaching them when to stitch through or when to suture. With a haptic device, maybe they'd be able to feel that, but then with a VR app, the experience is not the same. Have you found ways to overcome that? Or do you think the best way would be to just like switch to a good haptic device, given their cost compared to like creating a whole module?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good point. Thanks for the question. So I think definitely, personally, I think it's difficult to replicate a live operation in its entirety. Nothing quite beats creating in theatre, because as you know, there's significant difference in anatomy between every individual. Various things come up. I think you're right. I think having the tactile response, being able to suture, is.
I wanted to ask something else while I was reading a bit the paper. You are referring as well on your tables that there are mobile versions for supporting operation with augmented reality simulations. Is this as part of supplementary version of the toolkit, like giving some partial instructions, or I have some ideas really roughly from other operations in my field, computer science, but
Yes.
I never saw using an actual mobile augmented reality version within an operation table.
Yeah.
In order to see how that will work. But I don't know if you have seen something, maybe, I don't know, because you are referring that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think often with these devices, so as I say, it's kind of additive and not quite a complete replacement. So often they're there to help guide particular operations. Not at the moment the technology used to. There is technology being used, for example, the Da Vinci robot, something that's being widely rolled out across quite a few hospitals in the UK. And this uses essentially a mobile device programs into a robotic device, which actually performs surgeon pod, wears a headset, and the live screen in front of them. With mobile technology, they're able to perform the operation away from the operating. That is something that's being rolled out, particularly with urological surgery at the moment, and it's likely to be rolled out further to more general surgery. There is, there is a new scope and there's more take-up.
One final question, which I would like to ask both Dr. Sheik-Ali, but also Mr. Mike Vesalowski. Maybe he knows as well. But before I fire this question, is anyone else wants to ask anything else, Dr. Silva? No one? Well, the question I would like to ask is, do you think we are going to have soon working performance simulations for training, which means more than one person to use the same toolkit for the same operation? I think so that this will be quite important for the surgery, really, to train more than one person while you are on the same patient. Because we're talking about issues behind the networking, because it's not going to be only 1-2 people. We are talking about the latency of accuracy on the actual software, performance, limitations, and all of this. I'm not sure I have found any application at this moment that is using multiplayer simulation training.
Yeah, that's a very.
I have Mike raised hands. Okay. Well, yeah. So Mike, yes, far away.
I'd be happy to comment, but Doctor, please go ahead first.
Yes, no, I was just saying, I think that's a very good question, actually. I think having, obviously, with a normal operation, there are often several surgeons and anesthetists around. So there'll be a lead surgeon and there'll be a surgical trainee and often a medical student, all involved in the same operation. So I haven't come across almost sort of a multiplayer technology as of yet myself.
So yeah, this is where I could dive in a little bit.
Yep.
No, it's a fantastic question, and obviously it's an area in which it's very important to explore. We're doing some collaborative work with the University of Magdeburg, Professor Christian Hansen. They've developed a multi-user surgical simulation where they have 3 users, a surgeon, an anesthetist, and a surgical aide for a laparoscopic surgery. So absolutely, we're going in this direction, and it's very important that we do, because as you all know, surgeries are collaborative, and working on interprofessional collaboration and communication during a surgical scenario is very important to create high fidelity simulations. So yes, it's happening. It's still in the research phases. We are incorporating multi-user capabilities into some of our products, our caregiver products specifically, but it's not ready as of yet. These are still really academic exercises.
So, do you think we could see on a next conference even work in progress of research trends behind networking versions for medical support?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Even now, where, for example, our CVERT software, the radiology reading room, that is a multiplayer, multi-user application. So, right now we can have, again, 3 people in the same virtual space looking at, high fidelity medical images, both in 2D and 3D. But in the future, we're pushing more to be able to have, 25 people in the same virtual space with, with these type of interactive elements.
Okay. Yeah. Just was quite curious on that, but thanks a lot for jumping on that. I knew that you might have some ideas, that's why I raised it to both of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else who would like to ask any final questions, both Dr. Silva or Mr. Mike Wazowski? Then thank you very much for this lovely morning. Well, for me, it's kind of evening because we are in London. It's quite hot at this moment, I have to say. So you still, I don't know if you're going to be able to follow the other session at the medical health. I think should continue here in 20 minutes. So other than that, I wish you a nice morning if you are in Pacific area, or evening, afternoons for the rest of your time. If you have any questions, my name is Marcos Metzelopoulos. I am director as well for iLRN. By the way, under this session, there is a voting and feedback form, so please try to use it. We know we have to alter a bit the original plan because we had 2 invited speakers, but unfortunately only Dr. Sheik-Ali made it, so we have to kind of populate it with a presentation. Other than that, enjoyable day in iLRN.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening as well. Thank you, Marcos, for sharing.
You're welcome.